All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Monday afternoon. Another edition of KnicksFanTV Live, simulcast with Bleacher Report, CP the Fanchise in the building. I needed like a full day to recover here, man, after a tough season ender by the New York Knicks at the hands of the Indiana Pacers, man. So we got to debrief this season, the good, the bad, and the ugly with the great Ian Begley. He covers the New York Knicks, Knicks Insider for SNY. You can also catch him on the Putback with Ian Begley on YouTube and SNY social platforms. We were just over there, actually, on the Putback, along with James Edwards, a.k.a. Trilogy. So hit the like button. Hit the share button and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to call in with questions for Ian, call us up on the KFTV Discord. Salute to everybody on the lunchtime grind. Let's get into it, man. Ian, how you feeling, man? Happy Monday, man. Yeah. Yeah, hang on 1 second. Let me just make sure that I have your audio here. Go ahead. Run that intro back again because we didn't have you in here. Go ahead one more time.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem. Just good Monday so far. Got to talk Knicks with you on our show. I'm here talking Knicks with you now. Always fun, man. I mean, I could do this 24 hours a day. It's so fun to just bounce stuff off of each other. So happy to be here and happy to get into it.
Yeah, likewise, man. And I see some responses in the chat. Still miserable. People say they still couldn't get over it. I told you on the Putback, I felt like I was hungover. I wasn't even drinking. Yeah. It's harder to recover the farther and farther this team gets. But that just speaks to the wild ride that they took this fan base on and the city on from the start to the end, man.
Look, it's progress, right? You look year over year, it is progress. I understand frustration, certainly from the fans who wanted to see them get to the finals, who saw a path to the finals. But if you zoom out, you look at it from 30,000 feet. Progress has been made, and it's going to be an interesting off season. But just looking back on this year, yeah, you can't deny that they did take a step forward. There are steps to be taken here, I think, to get to the next level, but certainly a step forward here.
Well, when you look at Game 6 and the Knicks losing that game in the way that it did, you were there. You were there in Indy, or were you here for that?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I was out there.
Yeah. What did you see there in that loss, man?
Just sloppy play, man. Like first quarter, I think they had 7 turnovers, and they let Indy get out and get some easy baskets, and so they ended up, I think, with 18 turnovers, and Indy, I think, had 34 points off those turnovers. 34. And Indy wants to run anyway. They want to get out and run, and you're allowing them extra opportunities to do that. Also, just some surprising transition defense where whether it was a Siakam or a Obi Toppin, getting out off of a made Knick basket and getting an easy bucket on the other end because they outran the Knick defenders. Yeah, it was just I was surprised that the intensity just from that perspective alone wasn't there, that stuff was being allowed to happen. And when your best players don't play to their standard, and I don't think Jalen Brunson or Giannis or Cat reached their standard that night, it's going to be hard to win games like that.
Yeah, it was almost like they left everything at the Garden in Game 5. Similarly to almost how Boston gave it to them in Game 5 in Boston, and then Game 6 really came out flat and had nothing left. It almost seems like the Knicks just weren't ready to meet that level that you knew Indiana was going to come with in Game 6. And it was just so surprising to me, man, how the entire series, I mean, they lost the points over turnovers battle by 80 points in this series. It was very surprising to me that they knew this going into this series, that this team is going to put a lot of pressure on you to cough the ball up. You can't give them those extra opportunities. I mean, do you give more credit to the Pacer defense or the Knicks just lack of, consistent decision-making and cohesion there?
I hate to sit on the fence, but it's a mix of both. But I do think that you saw some uncharacteristic decisions with the ball. Everybody. I mean, Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, when there were passes that were made or weren't made, and it just didn't seem like it seemed a little bit sloppy and uncharacteristic because this Knicks team was low turnover for much of the season. They relied on that as a formula to win games, and then to see it in the biggest moments of the year. Certainly, Indiana did a great job pressuring the Knicks into mistakes, but there were some possessions where there was a pass where somebody had a few feet of vision, and the pass could have been made, should have been made, and it just was made incorrectly. And those are the ones where you just wonder, what is it? Is it a level of focus? Is it nerves? Is it fatigue? What is it?
Yeah, and yeah, just really hurt this team the entire series. It seemed like a lot of self-inflicted wounds, and we talked about this on the putback, man. I never got comfortable in this series after that game one debacle. We were both there in person. And I was stunned. I went from watching them up by 14. I'm like, oh my goodness, this team can really make it to the finals. To oh my goodness, this is one of the biggest choke jobs to add to a litany of those in Knicks history. What was your reaction to that, man?
I was shocked. I guess the last shot in regulation, I saw a bounce. Those rarely go through, and it goes through, and it was shocking. And, to hear afterward that it's not like the Knicks, quit, but you let your foot off the gas just to a small degree, and you allow what happened to happen. And I think that was the lesson they learned, the hard lesson they learned from that is you're playing with a lead. You can't let up at all. And you don't want to learn that lesson in that setting. And certainly series would be different if they had closed out game one. You're looking at least the game seven tonight at Madison Square Garden. Yeah, I think it's too much to say the Knicks didn't recover from it because I think they did, but it was too much to overcome to dig out of that hole.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Tibbs making the lineup adjustments after game three. I was looking for Mitchell Robinson to have more of a role in this thing, and he did get the start. But there are a few games, whether it's game 5 or game 6 or game 4 and game 6 where he didn't even get a chance to close. So with the change, how do you evaluate the two big lineups and then Tibbs still leaning with heart to close the games?
Yeah, first on the lineups, it's never a good sign when you're making a lineup change to a lineup you leaned on all year to get to where you are, and then you're changing it midstream after losing the first 2 games. I understand it. I think it was a logical move, but just in a general sense, never a good sign for that team. I think the Knicks, under Mike Woodson, also did that in the Indiana series in 2013, and the result was not good. So I think the idea of Robinson being in there with Karl Towns, it kind of is similar, a facsimile to what Minnesota did with Gobert and Towns. And I think you saw it work in stretches. It wasn't perfect. It's not a Band-Aid for everything. But I do think that you saw enough of it and you saw it succeed enough to the point where you have to consider, what do we do going forward here? What's the starting 5 looking like next season? Is it Mitchell Robinson with Karl Towns, or do we go back to what we were using for most of the year?
And speaking of Towns, obviously when you have a series end in the way that it did for the Knicks, everybody's looking to point fingers, everybody's looking to scapegoat a lot of people, and Towns' name has come up quite a bit. Was it his defense? How impactful was he? The soft stuff. Everybody's, especially out there on Twitter, is just having these raging debates about Karl Anthony Towns. Some people say, well, the numbers, the plus minus, and this, that, and the third point to him being very impactful. And others say, well, the eye test says otherwise. Where did you stand on how Towns, his overall performance, especially in this series?
Look, defensively, you can't ignore the issues there. My thing there that I don't think it gets mentioned enough when you talk about his defense. The Knicks knew what Karl can and can't do defensively when they traded for him. So, to me, it's an organizational issue if you're getting burned again and again by his defensive deficiencies because you knew what you were getting coming in. But then offensively, look, they might have gotten swept without his Game 3, fourth quarter. Obviously, he's fantastic there. The fouls where you're away from the basket, it's early in the game. You don't really need to pick those up. I think that has been an issue and was an issue in that series. but I just think offensively he is such a singular talent, and what he does for your team on that end of the floor, it's so valuable that does it balance out the defense? Does it supersede the defense? I think it does supersede the defensive mistakes there. And yeah, he had big moments in the playoffs. He had some struggles, but I do think that keeping this group together, keeping Towns Brunson together, and going into next year, I think it can only lead to better chemistry and better results for Towns.
And in terms of the chemistry, we did see the article in The Athletic by Fred and James, just in terms of the team just being frustrated with Towns and the constant locker room meetings. What did you make of that? Did you look at it as, these are the growing pains of a team trying to build chemistry, or was there room for concern there with kind of just how there was a little bit of friction?
I think that a little bit of friction is a good thing, and I think the idea that it was addressed player to player, and it didn't fall on a coach to address it. It was peers talking to peers, and to me, that's the sign of a healthy locker room, a locker room that can address things internally and can challenge each other. And there's no hurt feelings afterward. But to me, that's a sign of the health of a group. How much it ultimately factored into what we saw on the floor, I don't know, but you saw, like, during games too, over the course of the year, you saw Towns teammates, different stages of the season, kind of throw their hands up, express frustration, even on the bench. And you saw it in the postseason too, with that clip that went around with Towns and OG. So not a surprise, and I think that it reflects on the health of that group. The idea that there's open dialogue among the group, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily see it as a bad thing. I also didn't find it surprising about their frustration with Towns, because a lot of that, what happened there is kind of followed him from Minnesota, and fans who've been watching the game kind of saw those flaws coming in, which is why I was like, even trading for Julius Randle, we just don't know what the outcome is going to be, because both of those guys have question marks as it relates to their game, in particular on the defensive side and their decision making. So, I just thought a lot of that to be natural. It did still surprise me that even through the regular season and the postseason, that some of the communication issues still persisted, especially with the transition defense. Maybe that's just my impatience, but I thought that over the course of time, or at least I had hoped, they'd be able to clean that up at some point and really bring it together at the right time.
Yeah, the communication stuff, I think sometimes it's easier for a player to say that in a post-game interview than to dig into, like, point a finger at a specific teammate. But at the same time, they were real, right? Because you saw it play out that way on the floor. And to me, I can never really understand why there's a lack of communication, because it seems to me like something that you can do regardless of you're tired, you're hurt. If you're on the floor, just talk. But it's not that simple, obviously, because the Knicks did it sometimes. They didn't do it other times. And, the open threes that Indiana got in the half court off of pick and roll defense that was blown by the Knicks, several of those speak to the lack of conversation on the floor. And yeah, that's troubling. Is it coaching? Is it players? Is it both? No matter where you want to point your finger, that is a troubling issue.
Speaking of the coach, again, another topic where the fan base has been very divided on. So there's some who have wanted to see this team make a change even prior to this year. There's others who say, hey, you got to appreciate the stability, appreciate the improvements year after year, the history that they've made, the fact that he has the support of the president and of the point guard for sure, that they're certainly locked in as a family. You did mention that there will be an evaluation period here for the Knicks as it relates to the season process. But where do you think they stand there with the coach and how he'll get evaluated?
Look, I think it's most likely he is back, and that's just based on logic. The idea that he's been your best head coach since Jeff Van Gundy, the regular season success, getting to the next round in the postseason. There's linear progress. He is extended, I think, a 3-year deal, at least $30 million guaranteed, and so there's so many reasons to that point to him being back. But just this period of evaluation, it may have started already. It may have been underway today, and I don't know how long it would last. But just hearing about that just leads me to leave the door open a little bit, because if you're evaluating things, you're gonna assess the situation fully. And really, it's up to team president Leon Rose and owner James Dolan how they see this thing and how they see how coaching factored into it. Look, logically, he's back, but until I hear or see something, I think their door is open for them to make that decision.
Yeah, I agree with you there. But as I mentioned to you on the putback on your show, I think if he is back, they need to strongly consider, if possible, bringing in an offensive coordinator type, someone who he can consult with and just see, because I think it's more likely that they're more locked into this core. And so if that's the case, they need to make sure that they're doing everything possible to get the most out of them, especially on the offensive side. When you bring in Towns and you have Bridges and you have Brunson there has to be, a way to really get these guys to another level. Question is it Tibbs that can get them there, or is there another voice, another mind that they can bring in who he can really lean on to really get the most out of them, in particular Brunson and Towns?
All right, and that's where I go to CP. Like the assistant coaching point is a great point, but also if you're moving on, who is out there where you can say, oh, this Coach X, definitely will get us to that next level. I don't see an obvious candidate out there. Maybe I'm not thinking of somebody, but I don't see anybody who you could say, based on what this person has done on the sideline in their career, we need him. He's going to get us to that next step. Now, things change, things materialize over the course of an off season. But right now, I don't see that guy or man or woman who you say that's a slam dunk hire. We should get off of Thibodeau for that.
Yeah. And when we think about the offseason, as we said, the evaluation period is underway. What does your gut tell you in terms of roster adjustments? Is there a blockbuster in terms of the core that you think Leon might look to, or is this more building around the edges, around the margins?
Look, we're talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo. Just my general thought is there's a slim chance for this happening, because in order for it to happen, Giannis has to ask Milwaukee to be traded. I don't know if he's done that yet. And then he has to say, hey, I really just want to go to the Knicks. That's where I want to be. And then Milwaukee has to be willing to work with Giannis to send him to his preferred destination. So much has to fall into place there, because if he does request a trade and it's an open market, so many teams could exceed what the Knicks could potentially offer for Giannis. So just from a value perspective, I would think that they would get blown out of the water for offer. So it's such a specific scenario that would lead Giannis to New York. So I think it's unlikely. And then the Kevin Durant thing, I still feel like that he, even if he gets traded, which he probably will be, I would be surprised at this point if it ends up being the Knicks. So given that, it seems to me more marginal moves, not marginal, but maybe looking for rotation players, but not somebody who's going to come in and be your 1B to Jalen Brunson or an all-star kind of player. I think that those opportunities with the two names we mentioned, not going to happen. And then even if other opportunities arise, I think it makes sense to go with this group again and see what year over year growth looks like. And, this stuff never works out in terms of winning a title in the first year when you put a team together. So I think it's only fair to give this group another shot and see where they could go after a full off season, full training camp.
And in terms of an on-the-margin move, who's the name? The Knicks do have that taxpayer mid-level to give a little bit more money to work with. Who's the name you'd keep an eye out on the free agent market?
Yeah, just based on what transpired last offseason and what's happened this season, I think Tyus Jones is a name to keep an eye on. And it's really just because of last summer. I know there was mutual interest where, Jones was in position to really cash in free agency, who he would have had to take a lot less to come to New York. And obviously he decided to go to Phoenix, but now he's going to hit the market again, I believe. And then I think that there's at least going to be conversations there. Also, our friend Tim Bontemps, ESPN, he floated out a scenario about Al Horford, with Boston. And Boston, obviously, financial issues, they're going to get very expensive. Can they bring Horford back? If they can't, Tom Thibodeau loves Horford. Karl Anthony Towns and Horford have a close relationship, mentor-mentee, dating back many years. So those are two names right now that I would keep an eye on, and I'm sure more are going to pop up.
And another decision that the Knicks may have to make this offseason is what to do with Mikal Bridges. They traded 5 picks for him, and he is extension eligible. This was a soundbite that's going around. This is from ESPN on Sportsmanlike earlier with our guys Chris Canty and Alan Hahn. Here was Han Solo's opinion on the Mikal Bridges potential extension. We're going to hear it, and let me know what you think about it. Here we go.
They're going to extend Mikal Bridges with all of the first-round draft picks that they gave up for.
I don't think that's a given.
Really?
No, you can't. Look, Jerry West has always said this, so you don't compound something. But we have to because of what we gave up. You can't worry about it. Those picks are gone. You can't worry about that. It has to be the right fit, the right money. You have to believe it. I'm not saying they won't. I'm just telling you that you're not extending him based on the fact that you feel like you have to because of the price you paid. You do it because you think he's the right fit. You do it because the money fits and everything works and you want continuity. You don't do it because we have to. If there's anybody in that room that might have a hesitation about it and you have a chance to move him and get something for him, you do it.
Interesting.
I don't think that you force yourself. You cannot force yourself to make what did Jerry West always say? You don't compound a bad decision with another bad decision. That's all.
What do you think about that in relation to Mikal Bridges?
Totally logical. Certainly, that should be the line of thinking. You shouldn't get emotionally attached to what you sent out for him, but I think human nature kind of kicks in there. And if you're one of the people who was responsible for that trade, obviously you're invested in it working out. So I think human nature has to kind of factor in a little bit there to the point where, we're wedded to this decision. Han makes a great point, though, to have that thinking and such a big pivotal decision for this team, because if you do commit to Bridges 4 years, whatever it is, big money, that's it, man. It's like, this is your team and you're married to it. So I just assumed kind of all along that it would happen, that the extension would happen. But if you're talking about, pursuing a star, that's Bridges is a guy who would have to be involved, or an OG Anunoby or a Karl Towns would have to be involved there in a big trade. But I think logic tells you that the extension is likely to happen here. It's just a matter of how long and what the ultimate number is.
Let's take one quick call here from Ian before we wrap. Pops, the legend. Pops, go ahead and unmute your mic. Rapid fire question. Go ahead.
Okay. I guess my question, being that it's rapid fire, is since what we expected at the beginning of the year was a dynamic offense with all the players that are involved, is the easier fix trading or changing coach?
Thank you for your question. Go ahead, Ian.
It's a great question. I think the easier fix is to change the coach. That's just the nature of pro sports, and it's less complicated to do that. So I think if there's a major shakeup, it's more likely to be the head coach than a trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm sure the Knicks would love to be in on Antetokounmpo if the price was right and it made sense for them post trade. But again, for what we discussed earlier, it seems like a very small percentage of an opportunity. And the nature of pro sports is you do move on from the coach before you move on from players. I think, to just answer the question, that's how I see it. What do you think, CP?
For this core, I think it's the coach at this point. We see it a lot in modern sports, right? When you're invested in a roster and you may be limited in terms of the moves that you can make, I think that is the first move. Now, we know how intertwined Tibbs is with Leon Rose, so it might not be Leon's decision. How does the big guy feel about it? We don't know, and maybe we'll find out during this evaluation period. So we'll just have to see. But I think that's the quickest move. But like you said, Ian, you got to make sure it's somebody that you're bringing in that can take this team to the next level. You're hearing the hot names: Chris Quinn, Johnny Bryant, the Sam Cassella guy. Who knows? It won't be Mike Malone. I tell people that all the time. They're not interested in Malone. But is it a Quinn? Is it a Bryant? We'll have to see which one Phoenix goes with and who's going to be available in the coming in the future.
Yeah. Yes. The coaching carousel impacts everybody.
Yep.
And look, I think, I'll just say quickly, like the coaches who are out there right now, I don't see a scenario where it makes sense. But we see the unexpected, right, with the coach, where you think a coach is definitely safe, is going to be at a place, but, internally there's division that we don't know about, and it could lead a coach to leaving his current situation. But it's all so far-fetched at the moment that I just think logic tells you that Tom Thibodeau will be back on the bench starting next year.
Yeah, man. Well, Ian, listen, man, you did an outstanding job this year. And once again, it's been a pleasure to continue the collaborations with you and SNY. And, hey, when the offseason kicks off, we'll kick it back off and see what will happen with the orange and blue, man. But stellar season covering this team once again, man. Great job.
I appreciate you, CP. It's always great to be here with you. And, definitely look forward to doing it again, I guess, ahead of the draft. We'll see where we are.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that. The great Ian Begley, ladies and gentlemen. And for my KFTV viewers, stay on. We're going to keep it rolling. But we definitely appreciate Ian for his time. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. I want to hear from everybody, man. Whoever wants to call in on the Discord, we're going to keep this thing rolling. Like I said, I needed a day to really recover from this thing, man, and really digest what happened in this series before I could think about the offseason. I know I'd put the offseason talk off for, that post-game show in Game 6. This is a lot, man. You invested with this team and their success, and what a wild ride this team took us on. And so as the days go by, I'll feel a little bit better about how this season went down. But call me up on the Discord, man. I want to hear from you guys. We just heard from Pops the Legend. Salute to Pops the Legend. He just dropped a $5 super chat. Fanchise channel member as well says, still haven't adjusted the three-point defense. No offensive flow and no in-game adjustments equals Tibbs has to go. Well, like I said, man, I think at the very least, if he is going to be back, and yes, we can acknowledge and appreciate everything that he's done for this team. We can, congratulate him for continued improvements, because let's be real, this team has improved every single year under Tibbs. But I just wonder, is it time for a new voice? And that's coming from probably the number one Tibbs supporter and defender over these last 5 years. You know that. Me and you guys have been going back and forth every year, right, about it. But for me, hey, if the big guy up top says, you know what, let's make a change, I'll support it. If they say let's bring him back, I'll support it. But I think they need an offensive coordinator, man. I think they need an offensive coordinator. But let me know what you guys think. You guys see this thing right up here at the top, man. That is the Cash App sign, and that is one of our new sponsors. Salute to our friends at Cash App. You guys do send us super chats, and we appreciate it, but you can also send us donations through Cash App, and our Cash App username is KnicksFanTV. And one of the things that I like about Cash App is the ease of use. I use it for a lot of things, man, especially when we're covering our expenses as it relates to operating expenses for KnicksFanTV, and we're paying different people who provide different services for us, or as I said, to collect donations from fans that want to send us donations to hashtag KFTV or $ KFTV. And for you people at home, if you haven't signed up yet, do so, because they are offering an excellent promotion right now for a limited time only. If you sign up for Cash App using our code KnicksFanTV, and the link is also in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Use our code. If you send $5 to a friend, hey, you can send it to us. They will give you $10 back. That is an excellent deal to get you guys started in Cash App. And it's just a tool that you could use to send money and receive money. That's what Cash App is. So like I said, if you guys are interested in donating to us, hey, you can send us $5 to $ KnicksFanTV, and they will give you $10 back. Everybody wins. Salute to our friends at Cash App for sponsoring today's show. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. But once again, for a limited time only, man, new Cash App users can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. So use our code KnicksFanTV to sign up. And then, hey, if you wish to donate and you wish to send a $5 donation to KnicksFanTV, you can do that, and they will give you $10 back. Okay, so to our friends there at Cash App. Okay, let's get to the phones. Hear what the people got to say. STG Nick, STG, go ahead and unmute your mic.
What's up, CP? How are you doing?
Yeah, good, man. Good. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Took a day or so to recover, but now looking forward. And I just
Yeah.
had a few questions, or mainly just two questions I wanted to ask.
Sure.
I've been talking to some people, and they were thinking, like, if they decided, like, I think Mikal will stick around, but if not, like, would you ever potentially look at, like, a Jaren Jackson Jr. for Mikal's swap? They make similar amounts of money. I think it gets you some more interior defense, and it allows it, like, the more, like, a two spot to open up. And then another question would be, I know it's a long shot, but do you think there's any chance that they would try to eventually go back for Dante? I know Dante had kind of a rough season out there in Minnesota. Maybe the value dropped a little bit. I would love to possibly get the big Ragu in there. I see a lot of people in the chat and like earlier today on the show putting his name in there. So I wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
What do you guys think in the chat, man? Do you want to see the big Ragu come back? Shout out to STG Nick, man. Great season by you, man. It was a pleasure building with you through KnicksFanTV and at the Garden, man. You gave us some good Garden reports, stadium reports from the Garden. I'm just pulling up Dantes' contract right now, and because he's making like $11 million. So the question is, what do you trade? Yeah, he's making $11 million. Remember, this is the deal that the Knicks signed him to, right? So let me just pull that up. I'm pulling up his contract here. Hang tight. Salute to everybody in the chat. We're doing some research here on this afternoon show. Salute to everybody on the grinds. Everybody on Facebook, I see you there as well. Just give me 1 second here. Okay, here we go. So, all right. So here's Dante's contract. 11.9 next season, 12.5. So the question is for the Knicks. Remember, you gotta dollars and cents here. You gotta add everything up. I don't see how we get that done. Who are we trading for Ragu? Can't really afford him.
One thing I just wanted to bring up too with that, I don't know if it's possible. I'm not sure like the logistics, but would you possibly be able to include like Precious in a sign and trade to like fill in some money there? And then maybe I wouldn't want to do it, but attach Deuce. I don't know if they would want to do that. To get to that money mark, and I'm not sure if they have like a second or something, but yeah, that's the hard part is getting to that money.
That's the hard part. We'll bring my guy. Oh, well, you know what? Bobby Marks is coming on Wednesday. We're gonna do a salary cap breakdown with Bobby Marks on Wednesday. We kicking into off-season mode starting Wednesday, so we'll ask Bobby about that. But then the question is, I mean, you know, look at how much he was missed here. Look at how much Minnesota appreciated him. They refused to give us Karl Anthony Towns in that deal for Julius without including Dante. He gets there. Ant-Man, your best player, loves him, was raving about Dante DiVincenzo all season. So I find it hard to believe that, you know, A-Rod's going to go to Ant-Man and say, hey, by the way, we're going to help Dante get back to New York, and here's Deuce and Precious. I don't know. You know, I have a hard time seeing that. Now, Triple J, if you're going to tell me I can get Triple J in exchange for Mikal Bridges, I'm doing that deal. Definitely. You get athletic at the 5. You get good offense, a good offensive player, and you get great defense. You need that. Cat at the 5 is not going to get the job done for you. I don't know. I don't see how Memphis does that, but hey, a Triple J would be a great addition here. I just don't see how they do it. Shout out to SDG Nick. Another $5 super chat from Pops the Legend says, thanks to KFTV for the fun ride and community, but no slacking during the offseason. We need content to keep us going. Listen, man, Pops the Legend, I don't know if you're new here, but this is what we do. We do content here at KnicksFanTV, man. And people will tell you, the OGs will tell you, you know, this is just what we do here, man. So, yeah, now we're going to have the coverage going. We got Bobby Marks coming on Wednesday. We just had Ian Begley on. Jonathan Macri, Knicks Film School, will be coming on Friday. We'll have, you know, Alex, JD, CK, the whole 9. Everybody will be here. So, yeah, we're going to keep this thing rolling and figure out how the house will rise again. The Pacers are having all the fun right now. It's getting me aggravated. It's getting me tight. Tough one to get through, man. Tough one to get through. But yeah, this is what we do. Let's take a look at it on the Facebook side. Edgar Colazzo says, whose offensive coach you would consider? You know, hey, do we bring Johnny Bryant back? Is there another name out there? You know, Memphis went out there and made significant investments in the assistant coaches that they brought over from Europe. Now, it didn't work out for John Morant, as a lot of those guys got fired. But the one guy that they did bring up from Finland, he ended up getting the job. To Tom Iliasso, I think his name is. So the one thing you can try to do is that if you don't have the operating revenue or you don't have the salary cap to get high impact players or to make trades, hey, you can use Dolan's money to go get better coaches. That I would try to do, because I have not seen who is the assistant coach that is really helping this guy elevate. Get an offensive coordinator in there, man. Because they have to answer the question, is this the best we can do offensively? We know defense, they need a lot of work, and the chemistry was terrible. But offensively, is this the best we can do? Listen, when it comes to the 2-minute offense, I want it in Brunson's hands. Every team is going, for the most part, you're going ISO with your best player. That's money time. You're going to do that. But outside of that, is there more there on the bone? And I think there is. And so I'd like to see them explore that. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. We got a good crowd here on this afternoon. If you guys are on the grind, leave me a hashtag grind. I'll shout you guys out. And we're going to get to some more calls in a second here. Members Lounge is popping right now early here on KFTV. Let's get to Why Me on the Discord. Why Me? How you feeling, bro?
CP, what up, bro? How
I'm getting better, man. I'm recovering slowly but nicely, man. I'm recovering, man.
Shout out to Knicks Nation, man. I'm not sure. You can hear me still?
Yeah, loud and clear. You good?
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, man. Like I said, man, I hate to be the one always preaching patience and everything like that. But these last 4 or 5 seasons, man, as a Knicks fan, I'm just seeing nothing but improvement. Like I said, if Tibbs is the coach next year, I'll be totally happy. But I think what we definitely need is just more scoring off the bench, more continuity as far as the way we play basketball, and just like this coming into next season with this philosophy, we walked out of this season fully healthy, no injuries, everybody's ready to go. So just like, let's just add on to this,
yeah,
and see where we land. 2026. I was listening to Bobby Marks too. He got a video out about our salary. So there's a video on YouTube that everybody could find. And then honestly, like when they project the next season salary cap, we might have like 7-8 million. Plus, we're gonna have to do some creative things to get better players. So we just got to be a little bit patient, at least as far as to see what we could do next season. But the coach got to stay, the philosophy got to stay. We walked into the Eastern Conference Finals just off sheer being dogs. Yeah. And then it came to playing basketball and executing. But I think we're in a really good position as an organization, especially with the finals. And I think this is the happiest that Dolan has ever been. This is the most you've ever seen Dolan in one season. Doing nice things. That comes from this team and the organization, man. Shout out to you for hard work and everything like that, man. I'll see y'all soon, man.
Salute, man. Why Me on the Discord. Rate that call in the chat. 1 being trash, 5 being facts. If you guys are new here, this is what we do on KFTV, man. We rate the callers, and you guys are the judge, man. This is your show. What do you guys think? He says, run it back. Continuity is everything. I'm just ordering my Uber Eats here. Don't mind me. And he says, hey, stick with what got us here. Yeah, I mean, how do you guys see it in terms of how do you evaluate this season? Was it a success or was it a failure? I look at it both ways. And I think we can look at it both ways. The nuance is allowed here in the conversation. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It was a success in that, yes, you got to the Eastern Conference Finals. As Why Me said, you got there with a healthier squad. You got farther than you did last year. You had 2 All-Stars in Brunson and Towns. Brunson, clutch player of the year. Both those guys, All-NBA players. You made the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years. History was made. All of that can be true, but you had a winnable series, man. You had a winnable series to get to the finals. And whether or not you want to say, oh, well, OKC was going to watch us anyway, you don't know that. We were expecting Boston to watch us. And look what happened. Knicks stole 2 games. They were winning that game with Tatum getting hurt, but then he gets hurt. You don't know what could happen. So to me, it was opportunity lost. You had a winnable series against the Pacers. You got to pay attention to detail and lock in. And the Knicks went through that series almost like it was a regular season. Losing game 1 I don't see how they ever recovered from it, man. It was an emotionally disturbing choke job. I felt it. The fans felt it. Everyone felt it. So if we felt it, how do you think the players felt watching that? So then in game 2, you give a Pacer team more confidence to stick it to you, and you can't even win game 2, another winnable game. You lost both home games. You had home court advantage, and just like that, in a blink, it was gone. Can't play around like that, man. And give credit. I give a lot of credit to the Pacers. They ran laps around the Knicks in their wins. They were tremendous. Relentless pressure on the offensive side. Relentless pressure on the defensive side. They are built perfectly for the modern NBA. They're versatile everywhere. They got ball handlers. They got shot creators everywhere, from the bench to the starters, everywhere. Defensively versatile everywhere. They are built for the modern NBA. They built just like OKC. And then the mistakes, man. You get outscored by 80 points off of turnovers. You can't hand these guys the shovel to bury you with. Bench points, they get outscored by 100. You got to play clean basketball. And that was the issue with the Knicks, why I say missed opportunities. Because it was never clean. Everything had to be gritty for these guys throughout the entire, from the Detroit series. You know, you lose game 2 to Detroit. Nonsense. Like, the Celtics, every game of every series, it had to be hard fought and gritty for them to get it done. Yeah, they watched the Celtics in game 6. They watched the Pacers in game 5. But those are 2 games. Those are just 2 games. So that was just, just disheartening from that standpoint in terms of how they approach things. Turnovers were the Achilles heel. Omar Poe, absolutely agree with you, man. Turnovers were the Achilles heel. And you cannot sleep on this Pacer team. They will kill you if you blink. And speaking of sleep, salute to one of our sponsors today, Bear Mattress. Go to bearmattress.com. Use our code KFTV for 40% off site-wide. You're seeing 35% off on the website right now. But for KnicksFanTV viewers, you get the highest discount there is. And that is at bearmattress.com using our code KFTV. Hey, don't go cheap when you are investing in a mattress. You're sleeping for a good chunk of your life. So you want to make sure that you're investing in the proper bedding. And the best part about Bear Mattress is that they will pair you with your ideal mattress based on a short quiz. You go on their website, you take a short survey. They ask you about your sleeping patterns, your lifestyle, so on and so forth. And then they pair you with the mattress that they feel that best fits your style. So for me, I filled it out. They sent me the Elite Hybrid. That's right, for KFTV and CB the Fanchise. Elite Hybrid. World-class luxury. 4,000 reviews, over 5.5 stars. Yo, this bed is the real deal. I'm telling you right now, man. Very comfortable. And when the Knicks lose and I cry myself to sleep, I need to sleep in comfort, man, so I can get a good night's sleep. So the Elite Hybrid definitely does that for me. And you go on their site and fill out the survey, see what's best for you. Industry standard, industry recognized by a number of publications, from CNET to Forbes magazine to Men's Health, good bedding, good housekeeping. Go to bearmattress.com, use our code KFTV for 40% off site-wide. Okay, let's get to some more people here on the lunchtime grind. The members lounge is active. We got a lot of people with things to say, man. LD on the Discord. LD, how you feeling?
I'm Gucci. I'm Gucci. How you doing?
I'm trying to keep it together, man. Trying to keep it together, bro. All
good.
Yeah.
I think everything that we're conceptualizing is cool. You know, Giannis trade, free agents, Tyus Jones, possibly flipping Mikal Bridges. All those things are great. Domino number 1 is Leon deciding who is coaching the Knicks next season. Mm-hmm. That's domino number 1. If Tibbs is the coach, cool. If Tibbs is not the coach, cool. But nothing really matters. If Tibbs is the coach, nothing really matters roster-wise until we know he's the coach. Because, once he's the coach, then we can go back into our typical routine loop of he has to play the starters less. He has to play the bench. We'll go through that same thing again, but we first at least have to know who is the coach, because that's just really what it comes down to. The roster, we can conceptualize the roster if we know another coach is coming in, because the coach is probably going to utilize the roster. But as long as it's Tibbs, we know we're going to be kind of restricted with any dreams that we have. You could bring back prime Michael Jordan. If prime Michael Jordan doesn't play any defense, he's probably sitting on the bench. But also another thing is there's this conversation that the East is wide open next season. It's without Boston for sure. Yeah. But I think there's, we can't assume that we're just going to get right back to where we were. Yeah. Because of how this season went. There is a team, I know nobody wants to hear this because I also don't take them seriously because they always get in their own way. But the Philadelphia Sixers, the Sixers have they've been hibernating this entire season, and they got the third overall
for
pick.
good reason.
They do,
because they got bums on that team.
That's facts.
Injury-plagued bums.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, but
they do still have all-stars, and they have the third overall pick. I'm not scared of them, obviously, but I think what I'm saying. But we and to answer your question about was this season a success? It was a success until we lost to the Pacers. Because of who we lost to and because of how why we lost.
Yes, agree with you. 100%,
you know what I'm saying?
100%.
Yeah, man, no doubt. But keep it easy. We'll be good. Let's just see how this plays out.
Yeah, appreciate the call, man. Appreciate the call, LD. You were a great caller this year, man. You were a great caller. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to LD. Rate that call in the chat. Some of you guys are throwing tomatoes. Hey, this is your show. You be the judge. I'm just the conductor. I just bring the people on. You guys figure out how you feel about the call and the take. I'm seeing some tomatoes. Devontae Tate did not like that. Jay Nice, too nice. I thought LD was a good caller this year, man. Christopher Blake, LD gets a 5. Let's bring Christopher Blake up here. Unmute your mic, sir.
Yo, CP, salute 20 times. How we feeling?
Yeah, good, man. Good. How you feeling?
Down but up, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
If you tell me that we were gonna be in the Eastern Conference Finals at the beginning of the year, it would have been a success, bro. We lost to the Pacers, but why did we lose to the Pacers? They kept their coach. They kept their players, that they ran it back from the Eastern Conference Finals where they got washed last year, right? Consistency wins. Look at OKC. They're bringing back the same players that they lost in the Western Conference Finals last year. Consistency wins, right? So going into this offseason, remember the last time I called way early and I said it's going to be an up and down season. We're not going to win it this year. They need time to cook, right? Mm-hmm. This offseason is the time for them to cook and bring it together and figure out where did they go wrong. We have a whole year worth of footage to fix and tweak. And whenever you have a team and you pull them together, it's going to take time to get there, bro.
Yeah.
When you pull LeBron, Wade, and Bosh together, they didn't get there, bro. They got close. But, I mean, you got generational talent.
Good.
We have great talent. We have great pieces. We just got to figure it out. They got to figure out how to play together. You got to fail together to succeed together. Right?
Okay.
I mean, we both grown men, you know what I mean? We know what it means to be in a relationship and take the ups and downs and go through it, and then you fight to the end and you hit that goal that you're supposed to, and boom, look where you at. You would have never thought you would have got there based on the road you had to take, bro. Listen, you got to take this road. You got to go through this experience. And if you flip the team every time you get some hardship, you're just going to get worse and worse.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens in today's NBA. Look what happened to the Cavs should be feeling bad.
Well, from your standpoint of continuity, it didn't work out well for them. They got washed.
It working out well, but everybody was like, man, we should have Atkinson in here, bro.
Yeah.
Look what he did with that team.
Yeah.
Where were they? In Cancun.
Margarita. Hey, they kept that team together. They got what you would consider they got better. Hey, that was my favorite to win it. And they flamed out. They became the Cavs again.
But who did they lose to?
They lost to the Pacers. The Knicks probably could have beaten them.
Because of continuity wins in today's NBA. Yeah. Familiarity with the players, familiarity with the coach, from the front office down. You keep it together and you run it back to you. Listen, Yo, how long we been watching this team, bro? But KFTV standing strong. You know where we came from?
Sure. How about this, man? Let me ask you this. Frank Isola, I'm pulling up a tweet from Frank Isola. He says, Knicks president should deliver a State of the Union address either today or tomorrow to highlight the strides the club made this season, update the status of the head coach, and defend the player he once represented who is currently receiving too much blame. He's talking about Karl Anthony Towns. Should Leon do that? What do you guys think, man? Should Leon Rose come out? Do you want to hear from Leon Rose a State of the Union address after this season?
I mean, do other teams do this?
Shan Presti does it.
Well, true. And Sam, I mean, if Sam wins it this year, then I'm with him. Hey, do your thing, bro. You deserve it. I never saw. I don't see. Well, I guess would it be Spoelstra and Pat?
Riley does it a little bit, somewhat.
Somewhat. I don't see Pop doing it like Pop. Pop is my general. So if Pop don't do it, I don't know. In today's NBA, maybe you have to. But I think they do deserve it from a celebration standpoint. And look what we accomplished. Not from a standpoint of it's more of a rallying cry to the troops if you're going to do it. Because if you do it in the essence of bringing dysfunction and not being a true leader to show that we are strong and we have confidence in where our approach is. Because remember, when he sat down with the Roommates podcast, he said this is a 3-year project.
Yeah.
And in my personal opinion, in year 1, we are way ahead of schedule. 2 games from the finals, bro. When most people's had us getting washed by Detroit. Come on.
Yeah. Okay.
Enjoy the successes. It's a failure, but we weren't supposed to even reach it this far, bro.
Yeah.
Feel good about this. Feel good that in year 1, you were only 2 games out. You got out. Man, listen, Pacers are a deep team, bro. They got starters as their 10th man.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Bro, come on. That's a strong team. Give them their respect. They did what they did to us. Now it's time for us to get them back next year, bro. But we can't keep flipping it. We can't keep flipping it. We're going to end up taking back steps if you keep flipping it.
That's true. Christopher Blake, man, I'm just drop you off because we got to take a lot of calls, man. We want to hear from as many people as possible. Shout out to Christopher Blake. Rate that call in the chat. Good people in the chat. Rate that call in the chat. 1 being trash, 5 being facts. I think he has points in terms of keeping it together, continuity and all of that, but you still got to build around the margins. You got to build. And look, they got to upgrade defensively. I think they need, we'll get into, some players who I think they could use, but they need ball. They need a ball handler. That got exposed tremendously in this series. The shot creation got exposed tremendously. This is why you had the up and down with the bench, because they, one, didn't have a sufficient ball handling shot creator, playmaker, and they didn't have sufficient shot creators. Let's keep it real. As much as I wanted Deuce to play more, he only had 2 points in that game. 6. All right, mixed reviews from Christopher Blake. So we're rating Christopher Blake's chat, and also we put the poll up in the chat. Should Leon Rose address the media in a State of a Union type of address? Not one of those pre-scripted joints. Come out, have the media there, Begley and Hahn, and not Hahn, Begley and Katz and all these guys, and asking questions. Well, then I don't think they're doing that, but what do you guys think? So far, 70% say yes. Take a vote in the poll and let me know what you guys think. All right, we're gonna take some more calls on the Discord. Also, want to show you guys, man, we just dropped on the KFTV store the KFTV Dad Hat. High in demand on the platform. The KFTV Dad Hat has dropped just in time for Father's Day. Go to KnicksFanTV.com and check it out, man. The Dad Hats have arrived. We got them here in royal blue. As you can see, it's got the adjustable strap back there. This picture's a little bit distorted. It's not that wide. This picture's a little bit distorted. But you got the KFTV Dad Hat. And we're doing the combo deals with the Once a Knick, Always Knick 8x10 framed print. So you can get these in singular form, or you can get them on combo, man. Father's Day coming up on June 15th. So make sure to go to KnicksFanTV.com and get yours today. We're selling the 8x10 Once a Knick, Always a Knick print in a frame, in a nice blue frame. And also, we have the KFTV dad hat. So good hat, nice day, nice hat and gift set for the KFTV dads out there. A lot of you guys wanted the dad hat, so we went out there and got it for you, man. So go get it at KnicksFanTV.com. Okay, let's go to Costa Rica with it on the members lounge. Allianz, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yo, CP, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I think the best way to express the season, it was a beautiful tragedy because, we got to the Eastern Conference Finals, which was beautiful. What was tragic is that we lost to a team that we really could have beat. I think what happened was we lacked strategy. I think the Knicks made adjustments very late. Like watching the series, right? You kind of have to have an idea what Indiana is going to do because of what happened last year. And I told people after game one, like not even after game one, like before halftime on Twitter, right? That Brunson needed to play off ball because they were going to blitz him. They were going to pressure him. They were going to put so much pressure on him that the clock is going to, run down. He's going to make an errant pass. It's going to make a mistake. It was obvious, man. Like you saw it last year. So you could put the blame on the players all you want, and they do hold some responsibility because they're professionals. They play the game, they get paid, they have an IQ. It's not the first time they see something like this. So you have to be able to pick that up. But I think more so it's on coaching because Rick Brunson was a point guard. I think Maurice Cheeks, if I remember, was also. They have to be able to tell Tibbs, like, yo, man, you see what they're doing to him? You should probably put him off ball for a bit, get the offense running, and then once we get him off balance, then if you want to put the ball on Brunson, they're going to be scrambling. They're not going to know what to do because he's a threat to pass now. So I think that's a failure that they did.
Yeah.
The defense with Cat, kill him all you want. You're going to get what you're going to get with him. Pacers cannot guard this guy whatsoever. So you need a guy like that. Brunson can't guard whatsoever really either. But that's okay because the people need to understand that when those two guys are on the floor, our best defense is our offense. And we had zero offense between those two guys. There was nothing there. There was really nothing there. And that's the problem. Like you can blame the defense all you want, but you have to be objective. Our offense at that time when they're on the floor is our best defense because neither of them are going to stop anyone. And
well, that's why I wonder, and not to cut you off, but that's why I wonder, like, is it an offensive coordinator? Do they trust Tibbs to get the job done? I'm with you. I think they need to figure out how to build up on the offense. So that's going to be a question. Now, question for you. I put in the chat: should Leon Rose address the media in a State of a Union? No. Do you care, sir? Do you care?
I don't think it doesn't do anything. I mean, for what? Like, why? Like, do you need somebody to tell you what's wrong with the team, or can you see it with your own eyes?
Okay.
No, bro. Like, that's a waste of time. I don't see it. It'll just be for clicks. I don't think it's necessary whatsoever.
Okay. Appreciate the call, man. What's going on in Costa Rica, man? How's the weather out there, man?
Man, it's been raining, man. It's been raining. It's rainy season. I broke my hand, so this whole playoff run, I'm with a broken hand.
Hopefully not like Will from LI. Hopefully not like Will from LI.
Hey, I was going to say, man, it was because of the Knicks, but I'm going to keep it real. It wasn't.
Okay. All right. Well, stay out of trouble out there. Pura vida, as they say, man. Just enjoy that pura vida life, man. You know what I'm saying?
Pura vida, CP. Keep doing what you're doing. And, this team, bro, they got to straighten it up, bro.
Yes.
That's it. Because you've seen it. And we should have had that easily, and we blew it.
Yeah. Stay up, man. Let's stay up. Gotta be legend on the Discord. Yeah, shout out to Will from LI, man. I think he took this thing down. But my man went into MSG and committed violence on himself. Cut his hand up. What did Will say? He punched the mirror, cut his hand up. Had to go to the hospital. Hey, I'm just glad I wasn't at the KFTV watch party. We ain't got insurance for you, buddy, so hopefully you got stitched up and got it done, man. I can't handle that type of liability. So shout out to Will. He left the KFTV watch party, went to MSG, cut himself up, and went to the hospital. So shout out to Will. Speedy recovery to you. And yeah, growing pains, as Rare Edition says. Growing pains. All right, man, we're going to take some more calls from the members lounge. Let's go to who we got here. Who we got here on the members lounge? OS Jedi. Go ahead and unmute your mic. OS Jedi.
Hey, CP, how's it going? Hope you're having a good day.
Good, man.
Okay, so I was going through some of my notes for the season, and the same thing, problems that have been plaguing us since the beginning of the season, reared their head up in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Karl Anthony Towns just can't play defense, seems lost on defense. There were way too many open threes at this point in the season to be happening. If I were Karl Anthony Towns, I'd find a defensive trainer and just train all summer on defense. I'd run the team back. I think we have a really great squad. But Karl Anthony Towns really needs to improve his defense and will be a better team. I think the spacing is a lot better with Mitch on the floor. I like the starting five we started against Indiana, where it was Hart and Mitch on the floor at the same time. I think next year, Six Hart has a really good chance of being Sixth Man of the Year.
All right, there you go. Question. Do you want to hear from Leon Rose? Do you want a State of the Knicks address ASAP?
I don't need it. Okay. I don't need it.
Okay.
Don't need it.
All right. Appreciate the comment, man. Rate that call in the chat, OS Jedi. I appreciate your commentary this year and your support. Shout out to OS Jedi. Rate that call in the chat. Knicks Fix on the Discord. Get on mute your mic.
TP, what up, man? I'm calling in early today.
Let's go, man. You at work, man? What you dealing with today, man?
Nah, man, I'm actually off today. I'm off for a little bit, so
nice.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
All right, so to answer your question, man, the first thing, all right, like the question is, do you want a State of the Union address?
Yeah.
I think it might be a little bit too soon. The team might probably, if they make a few moves. Remember a couple of years ago they started making moves, and then they had like something in August right before the season. I think that's when Leon will probably. But right now, I think the wound is so fresh that they're probably just gonna fall back for a bit.
Okay.
I got a couple questions for you, man.
Sure.
Because all right, so I'm big on these forums and stuff like that, and there is like a split faction, right?
Yeah.
It's like you got the Tibbs supporters, and then you got the people who want him gone.
Sure.
Now, I know you said recently that all you can say is that he's coaching on thin ice.
Yeah.
The way I view it is like this, right? So I'm a doctor, right? A patient comes in, and then I don't consult the proper people to fix that patient, right? And that patient times out, they expire. Well, it's on me, right? Because I didn't do anything. So do you think that Tibbs is being evaluated based on like his lack, like what we're all seeing? Like, do you think he's being actually evaluated?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Look, people can say obviously Leon is his guy and Leon has his back, and Leon don't cut the checks. So that's all I'll tell you. And what I will tell you is that there was frustration with how he made certain decisions and how he handled certain rotation decisions. Everybody wasn't happy with that. So, and that's what I mean by thin ice, is that he was going to have to coach much better in this series. So it's not to say that his firing is imminent. That's not what I mean. But what I did mean is that game 2, like some of those losses were bad decisions on his part. That was noticeable.
Right. All right. So, okay. Then the other question I have, well, it's not really a question, but I kind of want to pick your brain at it. So I think if we replace Tibbs, but I'm not saying we're gonna, because I don't know where it's at. I thought the best guys on the list would have been a Johnny Bryant, a Dan Hurley, or like the only guys who Jalen and Josh would listen to would be like a Jay Wright, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Now I woke up this morning and I saw that Shams reported that Johnny Bryant is a finalist for the Phoenix job.
Yeah, as is Chris Quinn.
Exactly. So this leaves us really with no options, because I don't see this team hiring a Malone or Bud.
No. And I told you guys already, Mike Malone. They don't want Mike Malone. Mike Malone is not. It won't even get an interview with them. I told you that.
Right.
So like I told you, if he's on your list, take him off your list. Well, is there another person who we might not be thinking about that maybe Leon or Wes has in mind? Who knows? Is it a Sam Cassell? Right. Is it a Chris Quinn? Chris Quinn coming from that Spo coaching tree. A lot of guys from Miami rate him quite highly, and he might get the Phoenix job. I think it is interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
I actually did some reading on Chris Quinn, and I think he's been in that coaching tree. Like, he came up the same way. I know he was a former player, right?
Yes.
But he came up the same way as Spo, where he was kind of like a video analyst for a while.
Yeah.
And then he moved all the way up. So
player development gets a lot of credit for player development as well.
I mean, anyway, CP, I don't want to hold up. I know there's probably other callers, but the last thing I'll say though, man, is I don't think we should make a move for KD. That's not the move we should be making.
I'm not.
The only two moves I think we do this offseason is either A, shore up the bench and run it back if you're going to keep Tibbs, or B, if the Giannis trade is there. All right, CP.
Did I ask you about the press conference? Do you want a State of the Union by Leon?
Yeah, no, I don't think I want it, man. Because right now it's just too fresh, and what are we going to talk about? You know what I mean?
Okay. Appreciate the call, man. Appreciate the call all year, man. Good stuff all year, man.
Take care, CP.
Let's go. All right, more rapid fire phone calls, man. Gatsby, go ahead, 456. Gatsby, are you there? Going once? Going twice?
Yo.
Well,
hello.
You ain't Gatsby, you Red Man. I'm gonna put you on mute. Gatsby, are you there? I clearly said Gatsby. Red Man's like, yo, like Red Man. I thought that was Reggie Noble for a second. All right, so Gatsby's not there. So we will drop Gatsby off, and we'll go back to you, Red Man. Yo. What's up, man?
Hello?
Yes.
I'm all right. Sorry about that.
No problem.
ACP, thanks for everything, man, this year, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Replay gang all year, and thanks for everything you did, man. For real.
Yes.
So I think Tibbs is not going nowhere. You know what I mean? If you heard the question they asked Brunson at the end was, do you think this coach was the right coach? You know, Brunson's like, hold up. Yeah, he most definite. You know what I mean? I'm paraphrasing, but he's definitely doesn't want Coach Tibbs to be out. So I don't think Coach is not going nowhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think they're going to give him another year, you know, and that's it. But I think Coach Tibbs can change. I think he saw this year, you know what? I got to give the bench players some love throughout the season. Find some combinations, and I think Leon Rose is going to get him some better bench players this year, and I think he should get him also an offensive coach to help him out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you.
But I definitely think this is Tibbs' last year for sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's bittersweet. I hate that we lost against this team, but at the end of the day, they were the better team. We made too many mistakes. You know?
Yeah.
And that's it. That's just what it came down to.
Do you want the Leon press conference?
Yeah, I could care less about that.
Okay.
Straight up.
Okay. No problem, man. We just checking the temperature. That's all. 70% say yes, 30% say no, man. Appreciate the call, man. Red Man,
all right, man.
Checking in. Red Man checking in. My guy Dylan Wright got into the rotation. See, I think Tibbs was listening, man, to KFTV. Maybe his brother was relaying the message. I told Tibbs, get Dylan Wright in the rotation. All right? He might not be able to make a layup, but he's going to be scrappy defensively. And he gave us some good effort in this series. He says from IG, thank you, New York. Season didn't end the way we wanted, but what a fun playoff run that was. Glad I was able to put on a Knicks uniform and play for this great organization. Thank you to the fans for the support. Shout out to Dylan Wright, man. I thought he had a good year. I'd like to bring him back. Can never use enough defenders. He's 6'5". You know, offensively, he is what he is. If he was a better offensive player, he would be a way better player, and he wouldn't be, you wouldn't be able to get him for Jericho Sims. Yeah, that's just what it is. But he still deserves some playing time. So what do you guys think about Dylan Wright this year? I thought he gave it a good shot. Shamit also came out and thanked the fans. Okay, let's try. Let me try some of these guys real quick. Rapid fire. Gatsby, are you there? We'll try you again. Gatsby, 456.
Can you hear me, CP?
Yeah, loud and clear. How you doing?
CP, loud and direct from Philly, man. I'm an implant out of Jersey.
Yes, sir.
My first calling.
Yeah, you send those super chats all the time, though. We appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I follow you everywhere I go to work. I'm part of the grind.
Yes, sir.
So listen, it was so bad. My daughter woke up with an earache today. It was so bad this weekend. So even she's feeling how bad the Knicks are, the way we ended the season. But make it rapid fire. Tibbs, I mean, talk about coaches that survived long rebuilds. If you look, I think Spoelstra might have been the only coach in a while that really survived a true rebuild all the way to the chip.
Yeah.
And number two, there's a good crop of free agents on the wing that can shoot off the bench. Begley and guys like that. I want to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
And also, thanks for everything this year. Go Knicks.
Appreciate it.
All I got.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, man. We're gonna have more of these touch points. Don't worry, we ain't going nowhere. So we're gonna have a lot more of these touch points. Where the fans can call in and get their takes in. Decompress. A lot of people text me like, I just gotta decompress a little bit, and share some of your off-season thoughts, man. We're gonna do some draft coverage as well. You just never know. Maybe they find lightning in a bottle. We're gonna do some draft coverage. So, hey, stay tuned. Well, we definitely appreciate everybody for tapping in. Anthony on the Discord. Anthony, let's go rapid fire. How you feeling?
Oh, CP, what's good, bro?
How you doing, bro?
I'm good, brother, man. Thank you, man, for this season, man. You, JD, CK, Alex, man. We appreciate you guys covering us, man.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So yeah, now that it's all said and done, I'm just focused on what are we gonna do with this bench, right? I think like I think one of the last callers said Beasley's on the market. Can we create some space for Malik?
Yeah,
I
it'd be
would love
tough.
to have him.
I'd have a hard time seeing Detroit let him walk the historic season he had with them. I'd have a hard time seeing that. They're okay cap wise.
100%, bro. And I just love he's so fiery, right?
Yeah.
He's like, I think he fits in with our culture, In terms of Tibbs, man, I mean, listen, we all get all upset and emotional, from game to game and, from series to series. But listen, at the end of the day, man, Tibbs he works his butt off. We all know he wants to win. He was open-minded and starting to get some playing time for the bench. But I think if Leon could provide him with some good pieces on that bench, I think he will extend the rotation, right? So I'm all for letting Tibbs, go at it, one more time, run it back with Tibbs, we were in the dungeon for how long, CP?
Yeah.
We were in the dungeon for a long time, bro. And we're out of there. We're here. We're here now. We're competing. We're gonna be in the playoffs. There's no doubt about that. Now it's just a matter of just, building the team, around this core that I think Mikal will have a better year next year. I think he'll be more acclimated to the guys around him and more understanding of his role. I think this year it was kind of like on the fly, and I think next year I think we'll see a better Mikal. So yeah, man, I just
do you want the press conference?
I want the press conference.
Okay, how come?
I want the press conference because we know Leon is always like in the background, right? I think it'll be important, man. He sees the support that we bleed orange and blue, CP.
Yeah.
We bleed orange and blue, bro. We win a game in the first round, and 7th Avenue is like we won the championship. You don't see that anywhere.
Yeah.
You don't see that anywhere. You see that in foreign countries for soccer clubs.
Fair.
I think it's important for him to address his mindset and what he sees for our future. And I think it's important for him to keep us in the loop on what is on his mind regarding and just giving us an idea of what he thought of this season.
Yeah.
And what he thinks we need to get to that next level moving forward. I think it's important. I think it's vital. I think it will show all of us that, of course, we know he's invested, but he's invested from the background.
Yeah.
I think if he can step up and be like, you know what, listen, we're here now. We're in the mix, and now it's just a matter of making some tweaks to really get to that next level. I think it's so important, you know?
All right, man. Appreciate the call, man. Anthony on the Discord.
Absolutely, CP.
Great caller all year. Rate that call in the chat. So Anthony says, yes, he's part of the 70% that says, yes, we should hear from Don Leon. You know, for me, I'm good, man. Like, especially the way that MSC, they script everything, and it's never really, they made it a show the last time he spoke, and so that you don't really get much from it. I think we understand the plan. Leon and these guys, they let their actions speak. So I haven't really been confused in terms of the direction of the team, the direction of the franchise. We'll see what happens when they come out and give the coach a vote of confidence or not. We'll know what the coach's move is. When they go out and they make a trade or not, we'll know what they're looking at. When they go out and make a signing, we'll know who's being added to the team. That's what I need. If he is going to do it, then let it be authentic and not be a scripted show. But that's not how they do things. That's not how they operate. So there is that. All right. I want to shout out another one of our sponsors, man, LinkedIn Jobs. Hey, if you guys are small to medium-sized business owners like myself and you're looking for new talent, LinkedIn is definitely the way to go. And I'll tell you why. Number one, because it's a search engine. And number two, because it's a social media platform. So what you can do with LinkedIn is that you can go on there, let your network know that you are hiring. There's a hiring icon designation that you can switch on to your profile page. Then your network knows that you're hiring. You put out the job description, and you can put it up on LinkedIn's job terminal. LinkedIn will find you the qualified candidates, or maybe your network will refer you to somebody and say, hey, I know so-and-so who can do the job, or they'll repost your posting. So that's why I like LinkedIn for that reason compared to other job sites, because of the social media aspect and the sharing. You just never know. I'll go on LinkedIn now and I see people from my network sharing opportunities. There's jobs at the NBA available right now. So I'll repost that and see if anybody from my network can land a gig. And so those are one of the many reasons why I like LinkedIn Jobs. And one of the good things about LinkedIn Jobs is that you can post your job for free by going to linkedin.com/KFTV. That's linkedin.com/KFTV. Post your job today. Terms and conditions apply. Okay. I thought we had a great session today, man. That was a great session. We kicked things off with Ian Begley. Yeah, I had an action-packed day. I just did 3 shows. This is my 3rd show going today. I joined my guy Kevin O'Connor on his show on Yahoo Sports. That is out there right now. You go to Kevin O'Connor's show. We Talk Knicks. We did that at like 11:30. Then I did Ian Begley's show on the Putback from 12 o'clock. Me and Trilogy, James Edwards from The Athletic. So you can go on SNY YouTube and check that out. And then, hey, salute to the replay gang on KnicksFanTV, the #1 show for the fans by the fans. So listen, some of you guys said we need more and more content. I just gave you 3 shows that I did today, all with varying questions, all with varying opinions. So you can check that out and you get your whole day's worth. Tomorrow, I will be in studio at WFAN with my guys Evan Roberts and Tiki Barber doing a season debrief. Wednesday, as I said, the great Bobby Marks will be joining us. And then Friday, we got Macri coming through from the Knicks Film School. So like I said, this doesn't end for us. We're going to keep it working and keep going to figure out how the house will rise again. So I got to take an intermission now, get something to eat, and we'll be putting up replays. You know all that. Remember to catch us on audio podcast format. Shout out to our new sponsor at Cash App. And like I said, for new Cash App users, if you sign up using code KnicksFanTV on Cash App, send a friend $5. You can send it to us. They'll give you $10 back. Awesome deal. Thanks to our friends over there at Cash App. And hey, if you guys didn't get in on the Discord today, we'll be back on Wednesday. We got more opportunities for you guys to get involved on the #1 show for the fans by the fans. Thanks again, everybody.